Hello and welcome to the next square of the 50 stitches crochet along, and this week we're doing the Alpine stitch. This is a beautifully textured stitch. It's a very thick stitch. So on the front we've got this lovely front post double crochet texture, and it's going to create these thick ribs on the back. Okay. So all it is, it's alternating rows of front post double crochet. And in between each of these rows we've got rows single crochet, and that makes sure all the texture is on the front. So it's a very popular stitch for baby blankets, for nice warm ones. It's also a great stitch for baskets because this thick texture makes the edges stand up nice and strong. But it's a nice simple stitch to put together. So for this we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook, and we're going to start with a foundation chain of 32. So your turning chain counts as a stitch, and then you'll do a double crochet in the 4th chain from your hook, and then double crochet through the rest of your chain. So as you can see, I've already done my foundation. I've almost finished the first row of double crochet. So I'm just going to finish this off and then we can get into the pattern. So a 3.5mm hook is a bit on the small side for this stitch, but unfortunately because we need to make all the squares the same size, this is the size hook I've had to go for. Normally I would use a bigger hook for this stitch because it's going to make the square quite stiff, and obviously for baby blankets you wouldn't want that. So I'd normally recommend a bigger hook for this. So row 2, I'm going to turn, chain 1 and single crochet into the top of that last double crochet of row 1. Just going to pop a stitch marker in there. So that counts as our first stitch, and then we're just going to single crochet across the row. So the single crochet rows, they're just to reposition us so that we can put all that lovely texture on the front of the square. So we're not really going to do anything with these single crochet rows, they are just a repositioning thing. Even when it comes to the border, we're not going to use these rows. So just single crochet all the way across. So for this square we're going to do 14 rows of double crochet, and each of those double crochet rows has a row of single crochet in between. But it's easy if you just count the double crochet rows and you don't have to keep track of these little single crochet rows. But it's 26 rows in total if you do include them. 14 of them will be the double crochet front post double crochet rows. More yarn. Oops, sorry, just not the camera. Almost there. And into the top of the turning chain. Okay, so turn on the alternate turning chain. If you've not done this before, if you just go to the top of my YouTube channel and search turning chain, then this will come up. And you'll see how I do it and why. Now, this is definitely my preferred method. I know some of you don't like it. Not everyone does, but it's my preferred method. But you just need to do a turning chain for a double crochet in there. And now we're going to start with our front post double crochets. So we're going to ignore row 2, the single crochet, and we need to take a look at row 1. So this is your first stitch of row 1. Okay, we don't want to use that one. We're going to the second stitch. So front post double crochet. Insert your hook to the right of the post for row 1. Go around the back and bring your hook out on the left side. So you're just going right round the back, around the post, and now you're just going to do a double crochet. But instead of it doing into the chain at the top, you're just doing it around the front post. And just complete your double crochet as normal. Oops. Come on. There we go. And there is your first front post double crochet. Okay. Now, because you've not gone into the loops at the top, it's going to look like you're skipping a stitch, but it belongs to this front post. So you skip that stitch and then do a normal double crochet in the next stitch. Okay. So there's your front post. There's the stitch which you've done the double crochet at the top. So around the next one, you do another front post double crochet. And we're going to do this all the way along, so you alternate between a front post double crochet and a normal double crochet. You see how that raises up there? You can see that texture. Then normal double crochet. And then a front post double crochet. So there's your normal one. And there's the next one we used to do. Oops. A front post in. There we go. So you see how lovely texture's coming through. If we just turn over, you'll see it's starting to form this ridge at the back. And that's because doing that front post double crochet is pulling everything down. You see, well, here's your normal double crochets. And it looks like you've skipped a stitch where your front post is because you're not using those loops. And we're going to continue this all down the row. So, normal double crochet. Front post double crochet. All the way down. And you will feel it start to fold as you're going as well, which is absolutely fine, don't worry about it. So you can feel that bump on the back where the fold's happening. It almost feels like you're moving diagonally when you're making these, but it's just because in crochet everything has a natural slant, so don't worry, you are doing it in the right place. So it's just worth just keeping track of where everything is. So this stitch can be a bit slow going, but the texture's worth it. Because it really does create such a lovely look. So we're going to continue down the row, and when you get to the last 2 stitches, you want to do 2 double crochet. We don't want a front post in that last stitch. otherwise we won't be able to get a border on. So it does make the edges look a little bit flat, but don't worry about that because you won't be able to see it as much once we've got the border on. Okay, almost there. Yarn. And here's our last front post double crochet of the row. And we've got 2 stitches left, so both of these are going to be double crochet. And into that turning chain. There we go, row 1. You see that lovely texture coming up? We've got that ridge coming up on the back. That's perfectly normal. So now we're going to turn, chain 1 and single crochet to the top of that stitch. Just get my stitch marker, move up there. I'm going to single crochet across the entire row. And get ourselves back so we can start the next row of double crochet and front post double crochet. So for the next row we're going to be alternating, and so we can start that offsetting pattern. So in the stitches where we did the front post double crochet, we're going to do a double crochet, and if the double crochet we'll do front post double crochet. That'll start creating that lovely offset pattern. And again. And so the rest of the square we're just going to be repeating these 4 rows, doing now. So rows 2 to 5 are the ones we're going to be repeating. Okay, so this row of single crochet is row 4. And we'll just repeat all the way up until you've got 14 rows of the double crochet. And you'll have 12 rows of single crochet in between. So we start and end the square of rows of double crochet. Okay, last one. Let's try that again. There we go. And turn. So now we want that double crochet turning chain again. Okay, I should mark that stitch. Right, so in row 3, which is the first row of double crochet, front post double crochet, we made our first front post in the second double crochet. In this row we're going to make it in the third. So when we get to the end here, the last 2 stitches of that third row we did normal double crochet. In this row we're going to end the front post and then 1 double crochet. So this is how we alternate. So got the turning chain, in your first stitch, normal double crochet. Okay, now in the third stitch of row 3, always makes me think that, we're going to do a front post double crochet. So this is the stitch, which at the moment is between the front post double crochets, and we're going to do one in there. So you see that's now between these two, and then we do a normal double crochet, and then another front post double crochet in that stitch in between the two from the row below. And that's how you do the alternating, and you just carry on that way. So if you have a look track of your stitches, you're always looking to put your front post double crochet in between the front post double crochet from 2 rows below. So a single crochet is a row, and then we got the front post double crochet below that. So you're always looking to go into that stitch that's between the existing 2 posts for your front posts. And that is how we carry on for the entire square, and that is all there is to it. So we carry on down here, and we get to the end. In your 29th stitch, you're going to do a front post double crochet, and you end with a normal double crochet. Okay, we never want a front post in the first or last stitch, as we won't get the border on. I'll just go back to my original square. Yep. So the edge can look a bit flat, but once your border's on, it's not very noticeable, and you really don't want a front post double crochet on the edge, because it will make the border incredibly lumpy. We don't want that, we want nice smooth edges. So for your border, it's 14 rows, so you're going to make 2 single crochet in the side of each double crochet row. Ignore the single crochet rows, we're not going to put any border stitches in there. And your first and last rows, we need 3 single crochet. Make sure you add an extra single crochet for the turn on the diagonal, and then across the top and bottom you're just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then back down. So that's 2 single crochet in the side of each double crochet row. Ignore the single crochet rows, we don't want anything in them for the border, so they don't exist. Only into the side of the double crochet rows. In the first and last rows, you want 3 single crochet. Add an extra single crochet for that turn, and then just 1 single crochet in each of your 30 stitches across for top and bottom. And that is how you create the Alpine stitch. So as always, if you have any questions, come over to the Facebook group. I'm always happy to help, and I'd love to see a picture of your finished squares. I have been enjoying seeing them in the Facebook group. I am watching, honest. And I hope you enjoy it. So, bye for now, and I will see you for the next square. Enjoy!